Almost like the Camry is to the US market, the Honda City is to us here in India. It is a big deal, this model, and it's now out in its 7th generation worldwide. Here in India, they're calling it the 5th generation car.
Absolutely, Siddharth. A very important car for India, the Honda City, and definitely one of the biggest launches this year. And that's why in these times of coronavirus, we are exercising extreme caution and getting you all the 3 possible options this car will come with. The petrol manual, the petrol CVT, and the diesel manual.
So Shams has got the diesel with him, I've got the petrol. Let's dive into all the details on the new Honda City. Yes, it's finally here. After some delays thanks to the COVID crisis, the car that created and defined the compact sedan segment in India over 22 years is back in a new generation. Honda has announced that the new City will drive in alongside the previous gen, which stays in the market in its BS6 Petrol avatar as a lower priced offering. The Honda City has sold over 800,000 units in India since 1998 and has consistently been the segment benchmark. So it is a very big deal then, isn't it? Shams and I are here to tell you everything about the latest car. The very sharp edge of a katana blade, the legendary Japanese sword, that's what this line is supposed to represent. It's nice, it defines the character, but you know what? The last City had a very sharp line down its side as well. So, speaking of the last car, this one is 53 millimeters wider and 109 millimeters longer than that. Honda says it makes it the widest and longest in the segment now. So you'd think that that also means it's also the roomiest. So I'll get to the cabin later, but the wheelbase inexplicably remains unchanged between the two. Now you've got a new platform, you could have done something about that. We'll talk about that later. Maybe it wasn't required. Okay, the face. It does look more evolutionary, this design, in terms of the transition from the last car to this one. You straight away know it's a City. And then, you know, this very vertical, straight and fat bit of chrome here. Well, that's just like what you've seen on the Amaze, the CR-V, the Civic, and yes, the last City too. It's the LED headlamp though that's very, very different. You've got this 9-array LED, so that's only in the top end, no doubt. And it's got 6 that run the low beam, 3 that are for the high beam. It's very nice because it's different and it certainly stands out in the segment now for sure. Gives the car a very modern look. So do the tail lights. That's also an LED tail light here. It's got this interesting little arrow-like element towards the end. It's wraparound, it kind of sticks out, and it is very much like what you see from BMW. Now, don't be surprised because for the longest time, Honda always took a lot of inspiration from BMW, and looks like the world's back to being normal because Honda is taking BMW inspiration once again. Now, the last thing that's kind of irritating for me is that there are no new colors. 5 colors on the new City, but they're all the same ones you've seen before. That's weird. Why? Because, well, especially because they're keeping the old City in the market. Remember, both are going to sell alongside. All the more reason this one should have had its own colors. Brighter, younger, vibrant colors. Sadly, that hasn't happened. Yes, very strange, especially given the lovely colors we have been seeing in this segment of late. Well, for today, we have to make do with golden brown and lunar silver. That said, the 16-inch alloys complement the design well, and a special mention for the outside rear view mirrors that are now placed with a gap from the A-pillar to reduce blind spots. Overall, the car looks elegant, and yes, as already said, it looks bigger for sure. Inside the car, it's a whole new world, and at first glance, the cabin looks roomy and plush. But we'll get to that. I have both the petrol variants with me, that is the 1.5 iVTEC manual and the CVT. And I plan to drive both for you. I'm going to begin with the CVT. The city has driven with a CVT gearbox for quite some time. But has the introduction of a new engine made the drive better? And what about the infamous rubber band effect? Throttle response and acceleration are definitely improved over the previous car. The engine even sounds nicer now. It's got a nice little throaty sort of rumble to it, which is nice. But having said that, it's a lot quieter in the cabin. Yes, there's a lot of work that's been done on reducing the noise that permeates inside, and that shows. In fact, it's a really plush feel that this car has, and I think it all comes back to that huge USP that people are going to really love about the new City. Ride quality. It's really, really smooth. The engine performance is smooth too, so the whole feel is very refined. It's almost closer to the Civic than the old City, and that's great. Buyers are going to love that. That's great, isn't it? The ride quality on the car is truly exceptional. It glides over speed bumps and potholes and offers a velvety smooth ride on good surfaces. A look at the digits now. The 1498cc petrol inline 4-cylinder engine makes 119 bhp, and that is a very slight bump up in power. While the CVT is once again the auto option, it also gets a new 6-speed manual gearbox, which I will drive next. The mileage on the two cars is good, but not quite best in class. The CVT will give you 18.4 kilometers per litre, while the manual offers 17.8. The City always took safety seriously, so you've still got 6 airbags at the top end. Now there's also a tire pressure monitoring system, which is nice. And you've also got the lane watch that's been carried over from the Civic and the CR-V, which basically means you put the left indicator on, and on this screen here, you get the blind spot view from the rear. That's a good thing. You get used to it quickly and almost can't do without it. Now the car is also a lot stronger in terms of its build and the strength of its structure. So you've got more ultra high strength steel than before. In fact, it's 20.4% more rigid than the last car, and it's also, despite that, 4.3 kgs lighter, says Honda. The rigidity does help the handling, though it's not sporty due to the big car feel. The steering is weighted and does well, but again could have been a touch stiffer. The paddles are nice to have, but on a CVT you have to ask why, really. Also, if you put the CVT in S or Sport, it does seem a tad quicker, but really it's just a whole lot of higher revs more than anything else, just like all Honda City CVTs have done before. And yes, that rubber band effect is there, but not to an extent that it'll bother you. Honda says a full open acceleration step-up shift control and braking operation step downshift control help here. Honestly, it's not a big enough change to stand out. Now the CVT is great from a city driving perspective. Now in terrible traffic, nothing like a CVT. It's going to be comfortable, it's going to be easy, very smooth, and also give you good mileage. But if you want really spirited, fun driving and get really sporty, then the CVT is not for you. You're probably better off looking at the manual, which is what I should be doing right now as well. It is an instantly different character on the manual, which gives you so much more control over the car. On the manual, you do notice the peak torque kicks in quite late in the rev cycle at over 3500 RPM, which is a little annoying. As always in India, performance is sacrificed at the altar of fuel efficiency. Oh well. But otherwise, the gearbox itself is good, and the 6th speed definitely helps. And thankfully, the torque band does at least let you stay in higher gear, so there isn't frequent gear changing required. Overall, I do see Honda retaining its strength of reputation in the petrol arena with the super smooth iVTEC petrol engine. Though I will say this, the City RS in Thailand not only looks hot, but also sports the 1-litre iVTEC turbo engine that should have been considered for India and still should be, in my opinion. We will take a quick break here but return with the diesel and also the car's tech and cabin features. Stay tuned. Unimaginatively, the Honda team gave us the third car also in golden brown, and that was the manual diesel. Yep, Honda believes that there is no real need for an automatic diesel, despite having one on little sister Amaze. The manual is that new 6-speed gearbox at least. Shams has been testing the diesel.
A lot has changed on this engine despite the figures remaining the same. First, it's now BS6 compliant, and Honda says a lot of effort has been put to achieve that because it wasn't easy to meet the emission norms and deliver on that front. So in terms of figures, this engine remains the same. It's around 100 PS of maximum power and 200 Nm of peak torque, and that peak torque figure especially ensures that you get a spirited drive on this car. Acceleration is pretty quick and the gear shifts are also quite slick. You will enjoy being on the driver's seat of this city diesel. Don't forget, this is a car that is 64 kgs heavier than the petrol sedan has with him, and yet feels as agile if not more. Fuel efficiency at 24 km per litre is welcome. Now, another sort of very important factor on city, and in fact all diesel cars from Honda, has been a controversial one, and that is the NVH levels and how much of the diesel engine sound actually creeps in to the cabin of your car. Honda has been working on that feature, and is trying to make the diesel cabins more silent than before or seen in the earlier cars. And I'm happy to say that the City by far is the best result of that, and the company says they've put in some really special efforts to achieve that. You still hear the engine, but sound damping on the City is better now. And so, like the petrol, the diesel too has a plush feel in this respect. Could it be even more hushed? Yes, but on the whole, way better than the last gen. Now, Honda has come up with a special feature called the G meter on the City. Now, this is a feature that is not really seen in all the countries, and only India and Malaysia get to see this feature, and that helps you keep a track of the G force that's coming in effect into the vehicle. So Honda says that because in India the same car is driven by various members of the family, so it just helps in controlling the G force. And there's a small yellow dot that comes in your instrument cluster. It's like playing a game while driving the car. It doesn't really distract you because it's in your line of sight, but you just have to keep the dot in the center to ensure that you feel the minimum amount of G force. It aids in a more comfortable drive in this car. Is it a gimmick? Yes, but still kind of cool. The G meter is a part of a new attractively designed instrument cluster. A 7-inch full-color TFT LCD panel that's a segment first. Almost everything is digital here apart from the speedo needle. This is no virtual cockpit, but you can still choose from many display options that show up within the tachometer display. The instrument binnacle is also designed to sit a bit higher, and the dash is a lot slimmer, allowing for a recess just below the steering mount. This will give you much better knee room than most cars. The 8-inch touchscreen sits nicely between the well-designed vertical AC vents. It's a bigger screen than before and is easy to use. This does feel premium if you compare it to other cars in the segment, especially these soft touch leather with ivory stitching really stands out. Use of this forward as well. Leather, high quality leather on the seats as well. So it does feel premium from all quarters. Nice use of leather on the steering wheel as well. The steering wheel is both tilt and telescopically adjustable. The cabin goes on rear seat ergonomics too. Great legroom and headroom. Plenty of storage options too. So even though the wheelbase is same as before, the redesigned dash and front seats mean there's more space in the back. 15 millimeters more to be precise. But the new Honda City also gets the Honda Connect feature, using which you can actually connect to your car through the app on your mobile phone and control a lot of features. 32 of them in all, but they've taken things to the next level with this car, and 10 of those features can actually be controlled using voice command using the Alexa app on your phone. So let me give you a small sample. I open the app on my smartphone. Alexa, please ask Honda to unlock the door of my car.
Sure, unlocking your door. Please authenticate your voice PIN.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This would take about 10 seconds. Would you like to wait or explore something else?
Wait.
Okay, it should.
So there you have it, simple and practical at the same time. The app connects to the car through an embedded SIM card, and you can also use the Honda Connect app to give voice commands. Some other tasks you can ask Alexa to do for you are checking tire pressure and checking fuel and battery status of your car. There are many more, including Alexa, ask Honda to open the boot.
Alright, unlocking your trunk. Please authenticate your voice PIN.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This would take about 10 seconds. Would you like to wait or explore something else?
Wait. The Amazon Alexa access can also be shared with friends and family members. This finally makes the City a connected car in the true sense.
So a premium, well-loaded and well-designed car, fitting of the City nameplate. There are bits we could have been happier with, but there's plenty here to excite the segment and the die-hard Honda City fan. We expect the new City to come with fewer mid and top-end variants only. The entry price basic models will be the previous gen that stays on in the market. So expect the new City to be priced between 10 and 15 lakh rupees.